TCP Productions presents The Doomed Interceptors, written by Terrence Potts, narrated by Terrence Potts. In the void between the gas giant planet Jupiter and Mars, 4 United System Navy destroyers move swift and straight on course to intercept an intruder. All 4 destroyers were of the Kennedy class. At 1,000 foot long with a crew of 200, armed with 8 rapid-fire heavy slug rail cannons, 4 high-energy laser nodes. The ships had also been equipped with antimatter-tipped smart missile batteries, 2 each holding 500 missiles. The high-velocity EM sublight drive pushed the deadly spacecraft along at 250,000 miles per hour, fast for in-system flight, yet a snail's pace between the stars. All 4 destroyers were system defense only, no warp drive. The intruding spacecraft was immense and powerful. Preliminary reports from Jupiter Station 12 had shown that much. The vessel had passed within a million miles of Jupiter. A visual had been briefly possible despite its rapid speed. The ship, like an immense pine cone with what seemed like blisters dotted along its blue, dull gray hull. 4 bright blue plasma cones marked the ship's propulsion drive. Obviously some sort of advanced ion propulsion. Sensor scans, however, could not penetrate the hull. Therefore, weapons analysis was not possible. Truly a mysterious spacecraft. The 4 Navy destroyers, Reinhold, Washington, Vopasek, and Kaiser. Washington was the command ship of the flight. Her captain, Dexter Munderhoff, had been in the Navy for almost 30 years. He had seen combat in several battles in other systems. Now close to retirement, he had been assigned to home system defense duty. Not his choice, but he was a man of honor and duty. He would go wherever his beloved Navy needed him. With no wife or kids, space service was his whole life, and he loved it. On the command deck of the Washington, the tactical officer reported to Captain Dexter. "Sir, the intruder is now on course to intercept us, sir. They are decelerating, sir." Dexter raised an eyebrow. The intruder had surprised him, yet he was relieved that for now the ship was not headed for Earth. "Thank you, Lieutenant Alston. Please continue monitoring them. Contact our consorts. Live channel, please." The comm officer obeyed, and a moment later, the channel opened. Captain Dexter's deep voice boomed on the live feed aboard the other destroyers. "Listen up. The intruding spacecraft seems to want to come to us. We don't know their intentions, but we will not take chances. Go to battle stations and adjust course and speed for interception. If they are hostile, we will show their ass the door. That is all." Chapter 2. After several hours of complex maneuvers, both the intruder and destroyers were now on a final interception course. At 100,000 miles, the sensor officer aboard the Washington screamed out her report, surprise in her words. "Captain, enemy ship Locking up our formation, sir. Missiles inbound. Power spike from enemy ship, sir. Dexter cursed. Shit. Emergency evasive maneuvers. Weapons hot. Point defense on autocannon. The inbound missiles were only 9-foot-long poles. However, they packed a 5-pound antimatter warhead, and over 1,000 were headed for the frantically maneuvering destroyers. 1 ounce of antimatter could destroy a city the size of New York, but 5 pounds? An entire continent. Sensors had determined that much. The enemy missiles covered the 100,000 miles in less than 2 minutes. All 4 destroyers' point defense lasers fired hot blue beams and pulses, destroying all but 8 missiles. Kaisar rocked violently as 2 missiles slammed into her shields, which were now gone, taking critical ship systems down too. The 3rd missile struck the hull directly. All 200 crew instantly perished, the massive antimatter explosions turning the Kaisar into a miniature exploding sun. Vopasek had lost her shields as well. Powerful particle beam cannons had battered down her hull too. The Vopasek had fired all of her missiles and a full round of railgun slugs, as did Washington and Reinhold. They had not yet been damaged. The enemy ship detected the incoming missiles from the Earth warships. Immediately, the ship's combat computer fired concussion mines with proximity fuses as the Earth warship's missiles closed range. The proximity mines detonated, destroying all targets. As for the railgun slugs, they were too small and fast, and soon the superior shields of the enemy ship weakened. The heavy railgun slugs were traveling at 20% the speed of light. No energy screen known could stand up to all of that kinetic energy. Even so, the enemy had another surprise for the humans. The alien intruder had realized that attempting to reinforce its shields was an exercise in futility. The thousands of heavy railgun slugs' combined kinetic energy was just too much. The shield generators exploded before the automatic shutdown safety procedures could take effect. The alien crewmen nearby perished as the explosions vented atmosphere into space. Heavy slugs battered the armored hull of the hulking warship. It shuddered and rocked violently. The combat computer began to calculate the odds of survival. Apparently, these humans are not weak. However, it had a mission to complete. Its crew were expendables. As the computer fired up its powerful sublight drives, it turned towards the remaining human warships. A record drone capable of FTL travel was launched to monitor the last fight. The crew of the Vopasek had begun emergency repairs as the autoloaders prepped the rail cannons to fire again. Undamaged, Washington and Reinhold were already reloaded and ready for round 2. All missiles had been used up. Now it would be a gunfight to the death. On the Washington, Captain Dexter eyed the sensor feed on his tactical screen. The display showed all ships' speed and positions. As he studied the symbol for the alien warship, he suddenly realized that its approach velocity was almost like a suicide run. But why? Surely they would retreat to report to their leaders, wouldn't they? But not if they already somehow had done that. Shit! The captain barked aloud. Everyone on the comm deck turned to him. Put me on comm! The tech immediately connected Captain Dexter to the Vopasek and the Reinhold.
The bastards doing the suicide run. We have to stop them now. Set cannons on rapid fire. We will transmit to home command until the last ship. But they will not reach Earth. Fire!
The combined firepower of the three destroyers began hitting the massive alien ship. However, the lethal range of the aliens' particle cannons would now be realized. 12 white-hot beams of high energy struck the already damaged Vopasek, instantly melting hull armor and people as the searing hot energy vaporized internal vital ship components. Suddenly, Vopasek was an expanding fireball of plasma and debris. No survivors. Reinhold was hit hard. Hull armor bled off into space in glowing red-hot slivers. Several cannon turrets were obliterated by the powerful energy weapons. Several power relays had been destroyed, the crew desperately trying to keep Reinhold in the fight. Helm control had been lost. Weapons were offline. Washington had taken heavy armor damage, yet kept on going, continuing to fire her weapons. Now that the range had closed to almost point blank, the combat computer was an AI, or artificial intelligence. It was impressed by the humans' sheer warrior abilities. A pity, I must destroy us all, it thought to itself. The safety feature on its massive antimatter reactor was shut off. As matter and antimatter touched each other, a miniature sun expanded, its destructive energy release 100% efficient. Captain Dexter saw the readings even as he marveled at the sheer mountainous size of his adversary. His sensor officer never finished her report. Captain Dexter's last words were, "Well played." After a few moments, only gamma radiation and trace gases were all that remained. So this is the end of this audiobook, The Doomed Interceptors, written by Terrence Potts, narrated by Terrence Potts. Thank you for listening.